This is Boomer Life on CIL 650.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you.
Welcome back to Boomer Life here on CIL 650. I'm Sterling Fox, joined by Dr. Paul Zickler, the medical director of YesWellness.com. We're talking about, well, Dr. Paul's list of tips to prevent holiday stress and depression, among many other things on the program tonight. We're down to item number 7, Dr. Paul, on your tip lists. And this one is interesting because this could apply not only at Christmas, but pretty much year-round. Learn to say no. And that sounds pretty easy, but you know what? It's hard.
It's very hard, and I'm sure that anyone that's listening has already had that difficulty for the last few weeks. But it's important to say no in situations where you feel you should be, when you're saying yes and you're feeling resentful that you're saying yes. But it includes, we've talked around this part already in terms of friends and things that you should or you can't do. But part of the saying no is sort of looking at your day-to-day living, and we're just talking about off the air on terms of the bad things that are happening in the world.
Sure.
And certainly, now is not the time to while you're stressing about Christmas to have your radio on in terms of the news and the television on, watching the footage of the terrible, horrific things that are happening, and listening to all the bad things, because that's all we're listening to on the news, and to sort of saying, okay, I don't need to listen to this. I'm still going to be informed, but I don't have to watch it every minute of the day. And similarly, saying no to sort of pointless arguments that you're having with people or with issues, saying, I don't need this now.
Well, it's the same as the family gathering at Christmas, and the same spat seems to occur after a couple of hours and too many drinks between Uncle Bob and every year, happens every year. Yeah. It's predictable as December 25th. Yeah. So learn to say no. To take a pass on those encounters.
And talk to the other people that in that situation, so they know what the response is going to be, so everybody else is going to be on a good playing field. And part of that is also getting away from your to-do list. So it's all saying no, right? So I've got this to-do list, and one of the things that's on my wife's to-do list before Christmas is to wash the cars. For some reason, the cars have to be clean
on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day,
okay.
And it drives me crazy.
Right.
What in the world? Who cares? But
it's a big deal for her.
So now.
You wash the car.
Yeah. So now I've gotten a change of my mood. Right. My feelings. Okay. Yeah. She wants the car washed. Instead of getting upset, wash the car.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I've changed my sort of outlook in terms of how I manage that one particular stress.
Right.
And just that little change of outlook is all the difference. So instead of having to say, geez, the cars all washed, they're all washed.
Right.
So she doesn't have to ask anymore.
It's a job, but it's not the end of the world. It's a wash of a car.
It's already pre-planned.
Here's another one in there. You mentioned, now we've talked a great deal about YesWellness.com and your career in the supplement and experiences with supplements and nutraceuticals and those sorts of things. And yet, moments ago, you heard him, friends, right here on this radio station talking about those cookies.
Yes.
And how at this time of the year, those cookies are just so spot on. And so item number 8 is don't abandon healthy habits, he of the cookies.
Yes.
So square that circle for us, Dr. Paul.
Well, part of the message that we've talked about when we talked about healthy habits is that, there's room for going broke. There's room for going crazy. And as long as it doesn't affect you the rest of the time, the 90% of the time or 80% of the time,
right?
Then going out and having the hamburger and fries it's not going to do you any harm.
Sure.
As long as you're not making that as your new habit.
Right.
And similarly for the Christmas cookings, the Christmas cookies that you have such fond memories of, and they're always so much better in your imagination, right? That you've had for the last 15 years. That's okay. it's okay to go crazy.
Because it's seasonal. It's only once a year,
absolutely.
right?
But again, it's not like doing it every day for the last 3 weeks. So you're trying to get the exercise in that you can as much as you can.
Right.
Trying to eat, making your nutrition with all the good habits that we've talked about, and taking the supplements that you feel necessary. Continue all the good habits.
Right.
80% of the time.
Right.
And 20% of the time, go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And don't feel guilty about it.
Take a breather is item number 9 on your list of tip for preventing holiday stress. Take a breather meaning basically time out for yourself. You don't need to take days or weeks, but a breather is a good idea every now and then.
And that's where your organizational budget is really important. So you're looking at and looking ahead and saying, okay, I've got Wednesday. I'm not doing a darn thing.
Right.
That'll be a really good night for my wife and I. We're going to sit down. We're going to watch Modern Family, and we're going to watch 6 episodes, and really take the time out to be yourself and be quiet. And that might be 10 minutes during the day where you're sitting in the car listening to Christmas music and you're becoming mindful of and gratitude of the season and gratitude of the family, of all the good things that have happened to you for the rest of the year.
Right.
And focus on those kind of mindfulness times and make time for them. It might be all by yourself. It might be that
you could do that during a walk around the block too, couldn't you?
Right, absolutely. Going for a walk with the dog and just being by yourself. And this really helps to sort of be in the moment for really enjoying the season. Being mindful of the gratitude and the benefits of the love and the gratitude that's around you. Your activities like your Qigong and the Tai Chi, if you're into doing that, or your ukulele group meetings, it's all important to continue. Only maybe fit it into a little shorter time frame.
Okay.
But those times when you really feel that you're re-energizing yourself are really important.
Okay, and for those, and I mentioned this to you a few moments ago, based on my personal experience of decades of working on the radio on Christmas, and it's quite arresting. I mean, the first few years I worked on Christmas, because when you're starting in this business and you don't have kids, you work on Christmas, so your older peers who do have kids have the day off. So there you are on the radio station at noon hour on Christmas Day, and people are calling up and they're crying their eyes out, and they're miserable, they're depressed, they're lonely, and so it's supposed to be the sort of emotional peak of the year, but it's not possible for everyone. And for those people, some people are going to need some professional input, some help, some counseling, some kind of somebody to lean on, Dr. Paul.
Yeah, and let's face it. I mean, there are times when, if you're feeling so despondent where it's affecting you the majority of the time, or you feel like there's no hope, and you're plagued by physical complaints, your inability to sleep, you're being irritable, it's time to reach out. And if you're not getting what you're needing from the support people around you, you may have to seek out a professional.
Right. And again, women, as you told us at the beginning of the show, tend to be more stressed out during this time of the year because of the social pressures, etc. But women are actually better, much better than men at least expressing themselves. I'm not feeling very good about life. I'm kind of down here, and they'll tell you that, and they can articulate those feelings. Now, the guy who may be feeling exactly the same set of feelings is not likely to say word one, is he?
Yeah, and that is the case with men in many ways, because their social network is much more reduced than compared to his wife's.
Right, but there's a stigma attached nonetheless to seeking professional help.
Yeah.
Women seem to be less deterred by that than men, but nonetheless, if you're getting some kind of help, then obviously you're going bonkers, or insert cliche here, and that's not helpful at all, is it?
Absolutely. And the men feel like they should be the ones that are providing the strength and leading the way, and they don't want to admit a weakness.
Right. But again, if it's obvious, then maybe, and especially, and again at Christmas time, family members or good friends will do this. You're looking a little down in the dumps, my friend.
Yeah.
Have you thought about maybe sitting down with someone and talking about it? How about you and I have a chat here, and then we'll see what's going on?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. That is the list of Dr. Paul Zikler's 10 tips to prevent holiday stress and depression. We'll review them. There's not a test, fortunately, at the end of the show. And Dwayne looks really relieved. He's our producer. He's busy pulling out a song for the intro to the next segment of this program, which is coming up right after this timeout.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.